Well, good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, April 16th. We are now over a month into this time of physical distancing due to COVID-19. And by God's grace, we have made it this far. And with His grace, we're going to continue on. It's been challenging on many fronts for us all. You know, I've been thinking in particular these last few days about those of you who have loved ones in nursing homes or full care facilities, for those that have loved ones living in assisted living places and in hospitals where the doors have been essentially shut and you cannot enter into those buildings. My heart goes out to you and for you because you want so desperately to be by your loved one's side. I know that you are well aware that you are not the one who is able to provide the medical and nursing assistance that is needed. And yet, just to hold your loved one's hand, just to be near to them, to let them know that things are okay. You have a certain expertise that the medical professionals just do not have. You know your loved one's habits and likes and dislikes. You know that they would share certain things with you that they may not feel comfortable sharing with the doctor or nurses. And it just makes you feel incredibly helpless, and it's gut-wrenching. I read of a news article just recently of nursing homes threatening to call 911 on people who have been trying to sneak into the nursing homes just to see their loved ones. Just think about that. Now, obviously, it's not a wise thing to do on many fronts for several reasons. But the love and concern for their dear loved one and being told you can't see them is absolutely gut-wrenching. And it compels people to do the unthinkable, just to be with their spouse or with their mom or their dad or close relative. And if we've ever doubted that God has created us for relationships with one another, for deep, loving, and life-giving relationships, this time of physical distancing should dispel all those doubts. And so with those who are residing in long-term care facilities, at hospitals, and for their families who are having to deal with this very real trial, I just wanted for a few moments today to encourage you with a well-known and much-loved hymn. The hymn, When Peace Like a River. When Peace Like a River was written nearly 150 years ago, 150 years ago, in 1873. And the writer of this hymn is Horatio Spafford. Horatio Spafford was a successful lawyer and businessman in Chicago. However, he, along with his family, his wife Anna, and 5 children were not strangers to tears and to tragedy. Their young son died with pneumonia in 1871. In that same year, much of the business was lost in the Great Chicago Fire. After the fire, God's kindness allowed that business to flourish once again. But then an unthinkable tragedy took place in the month of November in 1873. Spafford's wife and 4 daughters left the U.S. to go to Europe, traveling on an ocean liner across the Atlantic. Now, Spafford was unable to journey with them because he had to do some work back home, and so his plan was to meet with them a few days later. About 4 days into the crossing of the Atlantic, the ocean liner collided with another ship. Within approximately 12 minutes, the ocean liner slipped beneath the dark waters of the Atlantic, carrying with it 226 of the passengers, including the 4 Spafford children. A sailor rowing a small boat over the spot where the ship went down spotted a woman floating on a piece of the wreckage. It was Anna, Spafford's wife. She was still clinging to this piece of wreckage, still alive. He pulled her into the boat, and they were picked up by another large vessel, which brought them safely the rest of the way. And from there, Anna wired her husband a message which began, "Saved all alone, what shall I do?" Mr. Spafford later framed the telegram and placed it in his office. Another one of the ship's survivors later recalled Anna saying, "God gave me 4 daughters. Now they've been taken from me. Someday I will understand why." Mr. Spafford booked a trip on the next available ship and left to join his grieving wife. And with the ship about 4 days out, the captain called Spafford to his cabin and told him they were over the place where his children went down. It was said that Spafford then penned the words to this hymn, "Wind Peace Like a River," on that journey. Here is that song. I invite you to listen to it. Sing along with it if you'd like. Beautifully sung by Audrey Assad. Have a listen.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul.
In the midst of some incredibly tragic and heartache events, God gives Spafford a deep assurance, a deep comfort, and in the face of what seems like waves crashing over him, the sea billowing, the loss of his 4 children, who, by the way, each had professed Jesus as their Lord and Savior not long before their drowning. In all of that, he clings to the truth of salvation in Jesus. That's what he writes about in this beautiful hymn. That come what may, whatever trials we face, there is unchanging, unmovable truth that we can still say, it is well with my soul. Why? Well, because of the glorious thought that though your sin, not in part, but the whole, is nailed to the cross and you bear it no more. That's the assurance that we have. And I can only imagine for some of you who have this gut-wrenching experience of not being able to see your loved ones in a full care facility or in the hospital. It must be waves of grief or just feeling anxious. But know in the midst of all of this, we take these words of comfort from this beautiful song, that we can still say, it is well with my soul. It is well. Because ultimately, our soul, our life, is cradled in the arms of a loving Savior. And so I pray that that would be so for your loved ones, whom you are not able to see right now. And no greater assurance can be found than that expressed in Heidelberg Catechism, Lord's Day 1, question and answer 1. And the answer is to the question, what is my only comfort in life and in death? And that answer is that I am not my own, but belong body and soul in life and death to my faithful Savior, Jesus Christ. That's our hope in the midst of some chaotic times right now, some unprecedented times. May you be that comforted by that. Perhaps have another listen to that song and close your eyes and just listen to those words and be encouraged. So the Lord be with you and give you his strength and his peace. God bless.